happened in the world of crypto this week? Well, here to talk with me about that is TJ Dunham, the CEO of Arc. TJ, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Bob.
No, it's a pleasure. So before we get going and talking about what happened in the world of crypto, our audience would be eager to learn more about you, your background, and your company and what it does.
Absolutely. I got started in crypto about 2 years ago. The space is extremely disparate, and basically my company, what it does is make the whole development process and bringing the different blocks and composable pieces of crypto together. We're powering the next generation of development, and which I believe is really important, especially if you consider the recent market volatility.
Right. So talk more about Arc. You talk about it being the first decentralized multi-marketing trading terminal. What does that mean?
Yeah, so Arc originally started out, or the idea originally started out as a multi-market aggregator. The idea is that we were going to take all the different EVM chains, so Cardano, AVAX, Ethereum, the BSC, Polygon, and all the decentralized protocols on the chains and aggregate them in one place, making them accessible in 3 clicks. The thing is, it was an idea, and actually executing on it was extremely difficult. We didn't realize there was such a large gap between ideation of these ideas from the business side, and then the actual implementation and actualization on the development side. Being able to develop these contracts, it's very difficult.
Yeah. So you mentioned on your LinkedIn profile that you're the CEO and that you manage a team of 30 members. Talk more about that.
Yeah, so and I got to update that a little bit, but previously our team, we did have about 30 members back during the bull market of early January and throughout the spring, which it was nice, but it didn't solve our core issue of development and getting the platform together, because we realized that despite the amount of people we had on board and developers on board, that bringing all of these pieces of crypto together didn't work. So we've actually flexed as a company, and we're more focused on creating a development platform that will allow us to create that in the future. So currently we're a team of 9, and we've just been bootstrapping, especially because of the market. I mean, Russia attacked the same day we were supposed to list on a centralized exchange, so that doesn't help.
No, bad timing. And then talk a little bit about the live products that are there now.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a DeFi ecosystem. We currently have a swap up, a fiat on ramp, an NFT marketplace, and then we have our core product, which is the Arc Reactor, which is still kind of in stealth mode, just being presented to investors and large partners right now. But the Reactor sits at the core of what we do, and it essentially allows us to instantly map and index any smart contract code base across all the EVM chains in seconds. And then we can essentially take that map, we can edit the functions for what we want, and then push out an entirely new project. So it takes development timelines and go-to-market times from months down to minutes. A perfect example of this, if your viewers want to check it out, is we actually released a video over PancakeSwap, which is a huge protocol in the BSC. We took PancakeSwap, we uploaded it using the contract address. We fixed the dependencies, we edited some of the code, and then we deployed it on an entirely new blockchain in less than 30 minutes, which is huge. I mean, the project has multiple billions TVL. They've handled all kinds of volume throughout their product lifecycle, and we feel like we're definitely doing some good here.
Yeah. So you've talked a little bit about where you are today. What does the future hold in store? What does it look like 2, 3, 4, or 5 years from now?
I think way down the road then, and it's weird at being in crypto, you have to be extremely agile, but by then I can see Web2 companies coming into the space and taking their supply chains and using technology like our Reactor to essentially hash the data in their supply chains into the blockchain and using custom blockchain solutions for their companies. So I could see Web 2 companies coming on board into Web 3 using a product like a Reactor, saving infrastructural costs, being able to view everything from one platform, almost like a decentralized SAP or an Ariba. And then, I mean, I see quantum consensus mechanisms that far down the road, and maybe not necessarily an ARC, but I can see people moving towards quantum tech as it becomes more mainstream, especially because what we have now isn't necessarily secure once those computers come out. I already know there's people out there that are trying to crack it. So,
Right. So obviously, you're relatively young. You've been at this now for however long now. How long has it been?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. And it seems as if the future looks bright given your youth and the youth
Well, thank you.
of the company. Anything else we need to know about ARC? Or do you want to move on to what's going on in the world of crypto?
For sure. So with ARC, we're planning to do a raise here soon, and we're planning to go into our growth phase. We're in talks with several big partners right now, which is going to be huge for the ecosystem. And we think that over the next 6 months, provided some of these partnerships go through, ARC could be an integral part of how people develop in crypto.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to turn my attention to what's going on in the world of crypto. Obviously, the ETH merge it was on my mind. We can start there, and then I'm certain that there are things that are on your radar screen that I'm not even aware of.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's all kinds of people in my community right now waiting on that EW, constant complaints, and it's funny because decentralized exchanges, they're getting it first. A lot of these people that just use decentralized wallets exclusively, they're kind of feeling left out. So overall, I give the merge probably a C, but at least it went through. So
right. And do you think that the promise of the merge will actually be realized or not?
Yeah, I mean, already, and maybe not right now, there's definitely some volatility causing prices to still be high when it comes to gas. But I do think that the merge is going to lead to a more sustainable ecosystem in the future. I mean, we're not relying on proof of work anymore. Obviously, it's proof of stake. It's going to be a lot easier to shard across chains to develop. And because I mean, gas costs in the past, it was so terrible how much you'd have to pay. I remember I was deploying a farm contract like 6 months ago, and it was a couple grand. And if you're trying to develop anything in the space, it was just extremely difficult to because of the gas prices. So I could see the merge being very helpful once we get over the initial hump.
Yeah. All right. How long do you think that will take?
I mean, provided the overall macro market scene looks good, I think it would just be, it'd probably take a quarter or so.
Right.
But I mean, with the Fed today raising 75 points, and then however they feel down the road, and all of the unease around the recent news with Taiwan and China, who knows?
Yeah. All right.
Just got to keep my head down and stay working.
Fair point. So what's on your radar screen? What do our viewers need to know about what's going on in the world of crypto with other tokens or NFTs or technology?
Yeah, for sure. I'm seeing a fundamental shift from, and just outside of ARC, not trying to sound biased at all, but there's a shift between, what was really popular about a year to 6 months ago, with rug pulls and exploits and all these cheap tokens that have no real utility towards actual utilitarian protocols. I see, hopefully, I mean, dog coins being a thing of the past as we move into this next market phase. And as the market matures, we're starting to see products like aggregators come out. We're starting to see decentralized app stores. Magic Eden's a great example. And I I see DeFi in general moving towards that next stage, which is great.
No.
But yeah, and I just want to say, like, don't be anxious about everything going on in the market right now. I know it can seem crazy, but we're always going to be here. And then, yeah, especially with the next halving coming up, we're almost through this cycle here, and as we move towards a new bull cycle, things will pick back up again for sure.
Yeah. What about on the regulatory front? President Biden has made some
Mhm.
waves around, and the SEC have made some waves around regulating and monitoring crypto. Any thoughts about what will actually happen or not?
Absolutely. I think it's, I mean, a lot of people are upset, but I think overall it's good for crypto. Because right now the pendulum's all the way on the left side. You have all these people getting away with rug pulls, malicious bad actors. I mean, I have a perfect example we can go into later, Bob.
Sure.
But then on the right side would be the SEC coming in and cracking down and absolutely destroying anyone that tries to run a decentralized exchange because they're not licensed.
Mhm.
So I think it's good. I think it's going to allow more institutional money to pour in. It just depends on how hard it's handled. It seems like they're trying to be very heavy-handed right now. So I'd say to anyone trying to start a project or running one right now, get a good law firm and just try to do everything by the book. And if you ever have to deal with the SEC and they see that you've been upright and everything you've done, you try to do the right thing, I wouldn't think they'd crack down on you. So.
Yeah, and it seems like some firms, Fidelity Investments in particular, are trying to get ahead of this by offering crypto inside 401k plans or offering a platform from which to buy and sell. And obviously, if one of the largest investment firms in the world is leading the charge here,
It's
seems like
huge.
it's huge, right?
Yeah, and then BlackRock's investment in the Coinbase recently, which everyone knows how much they have under AUM. So
Yeah. So you said you had a story to tell. I'm eager to hear more about that.
yeah, well, actually, one of the projects I was working on in the past, we had a CTO that hopped on, and he was, I mean, he seemed amazing at first, right? He developed extremely fast. He was able to hit product delivery times. But unbeknownst to us, one of the contracts that he developed for us, he hit a back door inside of it for a rainy day or whatever. And eventually our relationship, it didn't work out anymore because he just stopped delivering. He wasn't hitting his scopes and stuff like that. So we decided to fire him. And you know, we gave him notice and everything. We tried to do the right thing. And he decided that, like at the moment of firing, within 24 hours, he decided that he was going to wait till most of the people on my team were asleep around the world. Like he literally planned it in a specific 1 hour window. And he sent dummy tokens to the contract to activate his back door. He made out with 1.7 million worth of our token, and then he dumped it on the market, hurting investors, and it was terrible.
Mm.
But thankfully we recovered from that.
It's probably one of those stories where it's the token holders are maybe oblivious to it, right? The possibility of that happening, right? But they do need to be aware that things like that could happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the functions that I think our Reactor will solve, because there's so many exploits, there's so many rug pulls. And with our product, people are able to see, or they will be able to see an audit score, for example, of verified contracts, and then the functions that aren't verified through the different block explorers, they're going to be highlighted. So every single user can see exactly what those functions do. And it's going to be extremely difficult to do this type of stuff in the future. So
Yeah, I mean, as you talk about ways to protect oneself, those maybe go through a list of a checklist of what people should be doing in order to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I would say you want to switch wallets every 2 weeks. You want to make sure you have your wallets clearly labeled and they interact with specific protocols and exchanges. You don't have the same wallet for everything. And then I would say switch your VPN every single day, get NordVPN. and not a plug. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but they're great. I've been using them for a while. Switch your VPN every single day. And if you didn't click on MetaMask, don't click on that pop-up that opens on your computer. That's a phishing link. So if you ever get those, you close your browser, you clear your cache, and you switch your VPN.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm often reminded of it wasn't really Mad Eye Moody who said this, right, in the Harry Potter books about constant vigilance, but constant vigilance seems to be the order of the day for folks.
No, that's true. Yeah, especially in this space with it being unregulated like it is, you got to be constantly aware.
Right, and what you just described, it sounds like a lot of work, but there's a lot at risk as well.
Oh yeah, and I mean it does sound like a lot of work, but once you get into the groove, I mean the whole security protocol, it takes a couple minutes a day.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. I mean, if you consider your money to be valuable, it's worth it. If not, maybe not. But yeah.
I fall in the it's valuable camp. So,
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Bob.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground. TJ, anything that we missed or anything that just bears re-emphasizing?
I don't think we missed anything.
All
I think
right.
it's been a great call.
All right. Well, it's really been a pleasure chatting with you and having you
Yeah.
share your knowledge, your wisdom, your history of the company, your background with our viewers. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Bob. I appreciate it.